Hello and welcome back to our show, Diary of Laughter, her Laughter Diaries. Good to see you. I'm Katie. I just wanted to hop on this podcast. I was waiting until my cold cleared up, but it's just lingering. So we're just going to have to deal with my voice the way it is. Hope you all are doing beautifully. It is cold in Arizona where I'm at. It's windy. We're about to get snow. Yes, we have snow in Arizona. Can you believe it? Um, anyway, I wanted to come at you this week to talk really quick about turning 40. This is my 40th year. I'm not there yet. I'm still young in 30s. But it is interesting because 40s bring some stuff up for me that I didn't think it would. Now, I think most people kind of look at halfway through life to be 50, but for me, it's funny because this year, when it really boiled down to it, I was like a couple weeks ago going through and I was like, okay, the average life expectancy is probably like between 70 and 80 somewhere, maybe a little over. I haven't looked it up. But I'm like, so really 40 is probably like 35, 40 is probably the more like average of your half life. That you have half of your life is gone and done. And I think that brought a lot of reflection and questions for me. And I wouldn't say I'm having a midlife crisis. I wouldn't go that far. But I think it was kind of like, is this, reflecting on the last almost 40 years, what have I accomplished? Have I done? And also thinking that I need to do so much more in this life. I want to do so much more in this life. And really kind of realizing also, like when you're 40, you may have 30 plus years of walking, having a stable mind, being able to go travel on an airplane, because a lot of those things between 70 and 80 kind of die down. And what can I do now to really prevent decay in my body, decay in my mind? So I'm thinking along those lines, but also thinking like, what do I want to accomplish in the next 30 years, which is going to go by so freaking fast. Um, I can't even begin to fathom it. When I think about the last 40 years of my life, it went by so miraculously slow sometimes, but also so quickly. And I am totally understanding what older people say, that the older you get, the more, the faster time goes. And maybe it's just that we know time is precious and we don't have very much time to waste. And you can just see yourself like, oh, I'm sitting and watching TV every night. Am I wasting all my days just doing all this nonsensical stuff that doesn't really matter? What do I need to be doing instead? And yes, I'm still sitting and watching TV, so that hasn't stopped. But it is interesting to kind of take a step back and be like, oh, I may have only this amount of time left. I mean, God willing, it could be tomorrow, right? But this amount of time left to do things that I want to do. And what is it that I want to accomplish in this life? And a lot of stuff, I don't know if you're with me, moms and parents, but like you can't accomplish a lot of things you want to accomplish because you have children that you're raising and you're thinking about. Like I can't just up and leave for Europe anytime I want because I have to take my kids to school. So that's a reality versus like, what you want to do, bucket list things. So I did kind of have a lot of moments in the last little bit and kind of reflecting on what I want the rest of my 30s to look like because I still have time. My birthday's in November. So I still have time to accomplish things in my 30s. And what do I want the next decade to kind of be like? So I guess it is a little bit midlifey. I'm not going out and getting a sports car or doing anything crazy like that. But I do think looking at my mental health and how to make that last, as well as looking at my physical health is one thing, but also looking at what I want to check off my list before I go. and have a life I can be proud of. And the funny thing is we all need to feel this big sense of accomplishment. We all need to feel this big sense of like, I did this, this, and this throughout my life, and I helped all these people. But I really do need to take a step and look at if I did the best I could with my kids and, try to do right by them in this lifetime, then isn't that enough? We put so much pressure on ourselves to do all these other things. Isn't that enough? If I was a faithful wife, a faithful spouse, isn't that enough? And I do think back to those biblical times, like in olden days, especially in like, older books I'm reading. I was reading a history of England recently, and they didn't have like, oh, I want to go see this country and this country and this country before I die. It was doing your work, doing it well. So, being with your family, providing for them. And that was enough. Going to church on Sunday. It's interesting to look at their life compared to ours now because we have so much technology in our everyday life that we like see all these things that everybody else is doing in the world and accomplishing and think that we should accomplish all that too. And really being simple and dedicated should be enough. So I've had a lot of reflective moments where I'm like, I want to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then also kind of wrestling with the fact of if I get to the end of my life and I served the people around me well, and I was a good, tried as hard as I could to be a good mom, a good spouse, and a good friend, isn't that enough? So it'll be interesting to see what kind of this year brings up as I'm turning 40. If I get more kind of midlifey and I change my hair and just dye it bright pink, or, take a helicopter ride or scuba dive or do something wild and crazy this year, maybe I'll get the bug. I am going to travel. I've been wanting to go to England for my whole life, and I'm finally going this year. And that's exciting way to celebrate. And so that's kind of crossing my things. So I think there's a healthy dose of you can do both things. But I don't know if anybody else has encountered like 40 is kind of that moment. And also for my 30th birthday, I was basically having a baby. So raising a young child, having a baby, and that wasn't easy. So now I feel like 40 and free, where, maybe my kids, I think this is the decade my kids will be going to college, and my husband and I will be alone a lot of the times again. What does that look like for our relationship? Um, like, how can we kind of dive into each other more and have less focus on our kids because we need to provide them more freedom as they kind of leave the nest. So it's a really interesting decade. I'm excited for it. Um, I just am gonna see what happens. But yeah, when I think about 40, I think about being a kid and seeing 40-year-olds as being really old. And also, I remember my mom in her 40s, which is really weird when you can remember you're as old as the same time as you can remember your parent being. So I remember her face when she was 40, and looking at her life between 40 and 70, I'm kind of like, okay, this is, the journey that's going to happen in my face, and maybe body things that are going to happen, like she got breast cancer, is that going to come up for me, and all that stuff. So it is kind of interesting to take a blunt look at your possible future and really analyze what you want. So I don't know, it's interesting to me. And I was wondering if you guys struggled with 40, what you did to celebrate your 40, if you went crazy, or you just decided, like me, that maybe a simple life is the best life and try not to get on that train. With 40, also, it comes up a lot of cosmetic changes to my face. Like a lot of my friends are doing Botox, which I don't have clearly because I have wrinkles. I'm a bit of an ageist where I'm pro aging, except for my hair. I will never not dye my hair. It will always be dyed. So I'm never going to let it grow gray. My all my grandmas and great grandmas dyed their hair until they were like 95, and I'm probably gonna be the same way. I do think that's a really quick way to make you look old, old, old is when you let your hair go white or gray. I love that journey for you, if that's the journey for you, but I also feel like it would wash out my face because I'm so pale. So that's another reason I'm not doing it. And I get my eyebrows dyed. I do laser on my face, and I do that about once a year. So I am on board with doing surfacey skin, things because I do get age spots that really bother me. But I don't know if I want to go the Botox route, and I don't know. A lot of my friends are on Ozempic. I don't know if I want to go that route to lose weight. I don't know if I want to, like, I've had friends, get liposuction or lifts and do all these other things. I don't think I want to do any of that. So it is kind of funny where you're at the stage where if you don't act right now at 40, you're probably going to look your age. But there's a lot of women in my family that are in their, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and they look fantastic. I wouldn't mind to look like them. So I'm struggling with that journey as well. Like, do I do the Botox? Do I not? Do I start doing, some more detailed surfacing? Because now it's like not even your face, it's your neck that's starting to show your age, or your hands. My hands have always looked like old lady hands. So I don't know. I'm struggling with that being 40 also, is if I know, I don't do it now when I'm 60 or 70, it'll look a little interesting. So, yeah, I already got braces not super long ago. I still have some areas in my teeth that look a little crooked, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm never doing braces again. So happy I did it as an adult, but never, never again. So, anyway, I just want to know, do you struggle with this at 40, or was it more 50, 60 for you? Tell me where you're at. Tell me how you feel about turning 40s. Um, or even 30s or 50. I just want to know what you did and all that good stuff. So, coming at you with that thought, because maybe other people have had that thought as well, and trying to figure out what I want to accomplish before I turn 42. So, anyway, all right. I hope you all have a good week, and I will talk to you soon.